Hello all, I'm Michali Seleferiu, founder of Language Transfer, or now Language Transfer and the Thinking Method, and at the time of recording, creator of all current LT language courses, although I'm desperately searching for new course writers. More about that in a moment. I'm very excited to be presenting the first lessons of the first ever Thinking Method course for something other than language. This is the first step in branching out into other subject areas with the Thinking Method, and in this way, Introduction to Music Theory as a course will have two principal aims. On one hand, to teach all those basic elements of music that one needs to learn to play or write music, and which are usually taught in the most painstaking and tiresome of ways. And on the other hand, with these lessons, I also aim to demonstrate how the principles of the Thinking Method can work for any discipline. And I'm inviting new teachers of the arts and sciences to join the Thinking Method project and create a course in their own subject with my direction, to come over to the dark side where we as teachers want to fully understand and want our learner to fully understand, to really know in the truest sense of the word. The seriously motivated teachers amongst you who love work well done, who are more excited about their subject than their curriculum allows them to be, that appreciate the art as well as the science of teaching, please get reading the Thinking Method guidebook, available for free on the LT site, and get thinking about how this might all apply to your subject area. Then, if you'd like to collaborate, get in touch. And learners, please spread the word that I'm looking for these special teachers. Now, it often surprises and occasionally offends people to learn that I have written many language courses for languages I don't speak. Not don't know, but don't speak, languages I haven't practiced. In the same way, I'm no professional musician either. Still, here I am hoping to think up the best music course in the world. To help me do this, I need access to experts to help scrutinize my ideas, rather like how I need access to native speakers to write a language course. But in the case of music, I don't only need access to musicians, but to those who have expert knowledge in any number of areas I'm pulling together to explain music, from physics to neurology to numerology. So with these audio classes, I'm doing two things. I'm soliciting feedback from all these diverse experts, calling for constructive criticism and corrections for any detail, small or large, whilst at the same time allowing you all to start learning with this unpolished audio version before the visual element of the course is ready, which will take some time yet to complete. I'm still in love with the idea of using just the thought words occasioning you to learn though, so the audios are sufficient in themselves to learn everything we'll visit, and can be used perfectly well by themselves, independently of the forthcoming visual element. My hope is that people with relevant knowledge will chime in on the comments and argue about what I'm saying and help me figure out anything that is not entirely accurate. Before I continue recording material, I really do need this proofing stage to solidify my foundation, so I'm asking the usership to offer their expertise and or help pour experts in. In the same way native speakers help me sieve out a wrong sentence in the language courses, I need experts in everything I talk about to do the same. Either way, I'm very excited to get exploring all these ideas with you, which excites me much more than releasing a final finished product. So in these lessons, we'll begin learning about notes, scales, chords, rhythm, beat, and all that stuff which is usually taught through unenlightening memorization. We're going to learn all of these things in an unusual way, which not only enables us to understand music in a whole new light, but also the physical world in which we live, and even the bodies in which we live. When I started writing this course, I wasn't expecting to open a Pandora's box of existential questions, but it seems the proper study of music obliges it, which might be partly why music, like language, is taught so improperly in my opinion. This is also why music felt like such a natural choice as the first non-language thinking method course. Just like with languages, I'm sure many of us have memories of boring or painful music classes that managed to put us off of music almost for good, or convinced us we'd never understand it. The proper study of music uncovers absolutely fascinating things about nearly everything else in the natural world, and often seems to create more questions than answers. Luckily, the answers tend to be musical and the questions philosophical. There is a quote attributed to Nikola Tesla that goes, "If you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency and vibration." He might have also said, "If you want to understand the secrets of music, think in terms of energy, frequency and vibration." Are music and the universe then one and the same? The word universe simply means one verse. The Thinking Method courses for language, as well as teaching you a lot of language, are designed to help you realize all that you already know about language. Introduction to Music Theory will be no exception. For example, we already know so much about harmony and chords, even though at this stage we might not even know what those words even mean. We already have an expert understanding of rhythm and beat, of dynamics and melody. This is because music uses a bunch of systems in our brains that had evolved for other reasons before we made music, or before music expressed itself through us, as it might through birdsong, for example. And this is why so many other animals appear to understand human music, even if not quite like how a human does. Here in rural Asturias, northern Spain, I've taken my violin and played to sheep and horses a number of times, curious about their reactions, and they have all come to listen in attentive silence. A braying bunch of sheep, who usually pay me no mind, reacted to violin music with deathly silence, a fixed gaze, and tilts of the head during moments of musical tension, clearly engaged and following the music. When I started playing random, unorganized notes, these animals quickly grew bored or displeased. Some of them appeared to understand it as an aggression. It was no longer music, just noise. Curious noise, alarming noise, but not prose. Making noise at an animal rendered starkly different results to making music at it. So music is ours, it's human, and it isn't. We made it and we didn't. And this is why theory comes in brackets in the course title. Although we can use music theory to write music, it is quite literally just a theory or theories about why music works, rather than an instruction manual telling us how to make it work. Music is fundamentally a discovery rather than an invention, although our musical cultures are full of inventions. Even though theoretical ideas have influenced the music we create, we'll come to understand how music itself predates any theories made about it, and arguably predates even humans, seemingly manifesting itself without us. But what is music without ears? We might even come to say that music made us, rather than the other way around. Alan Watts said, "You are the universe experiencing itself. Through our eyes, the universe can enjoy itself, grow self-conscious." Maybe the other side of that coin is that through our ears, music can experience itself. Did music create us to hear itself? Person means per sound, literally. That's how the word is built, per son, per sound. Are we each a vibration, a frequency, a song, or less poetically, are our bodies simply a result of the same earthly vibrations we organize music around? Music uses us to manifest itself. It hijacks structures in our minds which appear to have developed for other reasons and conscripts those structures to exist. Strangely enough, the same can also be said for consciousness. Consciousness, as far as we know, is not a physical thing or area of the brain either, but something that conscripts various parts of the brain to experience itself, just like music does. Consciousness, like music, seems to be something that happens with our brain rather than something that is of or in it. It appears that consciousness, like music, might even be somehow separate to the brain, even though, as is also the case with music, our experience of consciousness might be entirely generated using the brain. But what consciousness is or isn't is as confounding a question as what is music. Neither of them are anything concrete, and as we'll come to understand, both of them are quite possibly everything. Both of them use the brain to exist, and arguably exist without it, existed before it, and will continue existing after it. Music may continue existing without sound, just as consciousness may persist without matter. And so, whether matter created consciousness or consciousness created matter might be a similar conundrum as to whether instruments made music or if music made instruments. The word music in itself refers only to the Muses, the daughters of Zeus, goddesses of the arts, and that word seems to have its ultimate root in the meaning of thinking, as in the of mental, or of mean, as in I mean. We can mean with words, or we can mean with music. Either way, what we mean is mental. I think, therefore I am. And so again, we have to ask ourselves, are consciousness and music somehow two sides of the same coin? Is this why music can effectively alter our consciousness? All of this musing, not sorry for the pun, is a prelude to the fact that this investigation is going to get deep, and yet also speculative, because we really are studying a mystical art with music, apparently the same mystical art of life and creation, of existence. But at the same time, we'll approach these lofty questions with the most down-to-earth of tools, simple maths and physics. So in summary, the reason a horse or a sheep can be moved by Beethoven is because the things our brains already do or did to navigate the natural world are navigated by music and didn't develop for music. Most of those systems exist in the sheep's brain in a similar way to how they do in ours, only without all the cultural associations we might have about different genres of music. Learning about this interaction between music and its vehicles, we will learn music theory almost along the way. Although most of what we will learn is relevant for most musics of the world, in this course we'll be focused on what we term Western music, which is what we call anything from Beethoven to Beyonce. As with the Thinking Method language courses, I will be asking you questions which you are expected to think through and answer before following up. So this means pausing the audio to think if need be. This trains your brain to more actively follow the ideas we are exploring and will help you understand and internalize them in no time. No instrument is needed to do the course, just your mind. Writing is not recommended either, just your dedicated thought and presence, or in other words, concentration. I'm not sure how final these classes are or not, or even in what format they will eventually come together in. If the course will be all in video or have an audio supplement before moving to video, or even a book with audio. I just know that the more I try to finalize, the more there seems to be to investigate and weave into the course. The more I fall into the rabbit hole of looking at the world through the lens of music, the more I see its principles reflected elsewhere and everywhere. And so I need to learn about rock formation, color wavelengths, origami even, before thinking about how to include that in the course. There are so many areas I need expert knowledge on in order to link everything as pedagogically and as beautifully as I want to, which, as mentioned, is also why I'm releasing now what is inevitably unlikely to be a final product. Meanwhile, none of this takes away from the excitement of sharing all these ideas about music with you, letting you all see where this course is going and how, and giving an albeit fleeting insight into what the thinking method for other subjects might look like. Enjoy, and remember to follow closely and pause the audio whenever you need to think or answer.